Good evening, everyone. So tonight is episode 5. We are on builders incentives. What's a great deal and what is just marketing? So we have been talking, I've been doing a series of things nobody told you about when you're buying a new construction home. And so the last 4 episodes have been really awesome because we've been talking about things like needing a realtor, some of the hidden costs that you may not know or think about when you're purchasing new construction homes. And so tonight we're talking about those builders incentives. And so I wanted to make sure that you understand what builders incentives are, what you need to look for, what's going to be beneficial for you and your family, and how the builders incentives really work. So let me just ask you a question, okay? If someone offered you $30,000 for free, would you take it? I know I would. Okay, most of us would say absolutely yes, we are. So but now, what if I told you that $30,000 offer could actually cost you more in the long run? Sounds crazy, right? Every day, builders are advertising things like $25,000 in incentives. We'll pay closing costs. Rates are as low as 3.99%. Free upgrades, appliance packages, you know, those type of things like that. I went out this weekend and some of the builders $25,000 in closing costs and things like that. Some of the builders are offering some other things also because it's the summertime. And as a buyer, naturally you're gonna think, wow, that builder is actually, you know, that's the one that I should go with because they're giving me the most in incentives. But here's what almost nobody talks about. The biggest incentives isn't always the best deal. So tonight I'm going to show you how to look beyond the big numbers and understand what really gives you the most value, okay? So if you're thinking about buying your first home within the next 6 months or within the next year, y'all come on in, stay with me. And I want you to watch this video and get this information before you go out and start looking at new construction, okay? So my name is Gwen Ransom. I'm your intentional agent. I am a new construction specialist out here in the Fort Bend County area and surrounding areas. And so tonight, like I said, we're talking about the builders incentives and what that really means for you, okay? So my goal is simple, y'all. I just want to help you, okay? I just want to be able to give you the information so that you are an informed buyer, that you're educated when you're going out to purchase your new construction home, that you actually can understand and know what to look for when you're going out, not just getting blindsided with some things, but actually have the information when you go out there. That is my whole total goal, okay? So let's go ahead on and get into it. First of all, what is a builder's incentive? So let's start with the basics, okay? A builder's incentive is something that the builder is going to offer to encourage the buyers to purchase a home, okay? So it might be that that money towards closing costs. It might be a lower interest rate. It might be that free upgrade. A lot of builders give the appliance package, that washer, that dryer, refrigerator, and blinds, and the car garage opener. Some of those things are going to be some of those incentives. And so when you're looking at it, please understand that yes, these are real offers and they can absolutely help you as a buyer, okay? But here's the important part. Not every incentive has the same value for every buyer, okay? The right incentive depends on your situation. That's basically what it comes down to. What's going to be good for you in your situation. So let me give you an example. All right, imagine that there are two builders, okay, and builder A is offering $30,000 in incentives, and builder B is offering $15,000 in incentives. Okay, so which one do you think you're going to go with? A lot of people will say, well, of course I'm going with the $30,000 because that's going to give me more money to be able to work with. But what if I tell you that builder B is not just giving you the $15,000, but it's also having lower property taxes. It's in a location where the property taxes are lower. The HOA fees are lower. Okay, your monthly payment may be lower because of where the house is at. It might be a better location for your family, right? So those are some of the things that you're going to look at, especially how is that going to benefit you over the next 5 years, right? Builder B could actually save you more money in the long run than builder A because builder A is offering more money toward in an incentive. So that's why I always tell my clients, don't shop for the biggest incentives, shop for the best overall value. What's going to be better for you and your family, okay? So when we get the contracts and when we start going out into the neighborhoods and looking for new construction neighborhoods and stuff like that, you know, I want to make sure that y'all understand to read the fine print. Read the fine print. Take the time before you sign the contract to read the fine print, okay? Because some builders' incentives come with conditions, all right? Some of them, you know, they might say, okay, well, yeah, we'll give you that $10,000, that $15,000, that $30,000 towards your closing costs if you use our preferred lender. Okay, so what does that actually mean? That means that if you have already started working with an outside lender, that's wonderful, fine. You got pre-approved from an outside lender, that's fine. But some builders have their own mortgage companies that they want you to work with, and so in order to receive that incentive of $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 towards closing costs, they'll tell you that the condition is that if you use their preferred lender, okay? Some might say, we need you to close by a certain date. We'll give you the incentives, but we need you to close within 30 days, okay? Some of them might have the purchase of a specific inventory home. So like I did an open house this past weekend, and the home that I did, they gave more incentives because the neighborhood is in a closeout, which means that there's only 2 homes that's left in that community. So they have a little bit more incentive for those 2 homes, to purchase those 2 homes, than in another part of the neighborhood where they're also building. So that might be one of the conditions that they have in order to get those incentives. It really just kind of depends. Not every builder is going to be the same, okay? Not every builder is going to offer the same when it comes down to incentives, okay? So you just really want to make sure that you're reading that fine print and you understand that that incentive is a condition of your loan, of the contract, okay? That incentive might be, okay, well, this is what the conditions are in order for you to get that incentive. So you need to make sure that you understand that, all right? So the next thing that I wanted to talk about, so instead of asking some of the questions that you probably need to make sure that you ask when you're going in and the incentives come up, first of all, I always ask when I go in for my clients, what incentives do you have? What incentives are you offering right now? Okay. Incentives don't last a long period of time. Some incentives are for 30 days. Some incentives are for 2 weeks. It depends on the builder. Okay. So just make sure you understand that you want to make sure you're asking that question of how long is this incentive available for? All right. Make sure you understand how long you have in order to get that incentive. Okay. Because if they say, well, if you go in on Tuesday and they say, well, we have our builders meeting on Monday, so you have until Sunday to make a decision in order to get these incentives, then you need to make sure you are aware of that timeline, of that deadline. Okay. So that is a question that you want to make sure that you're asking the sales agent. How long is the incentive available for? Another question, what do I have to do to qualify for it? That is a good question, right? Because you want to make sure that you meet the requirements in order to get the incentive. Okay, so ask them, what do I have to do to get qualified, to be qualified for it? Can I choose how to use the incentives? So some of the times you'll have a builder who says, we're going to give you $25,000 any way you want to use it. You can use $10,000 over here on closing costs. You can put, you can use, another $10,000 on a buy down rate to lower your interest rate. Also, you can use that money on there. So you want to make sure that you understand how you can use the incentive. Can it be used as a down payment? Can it be used towards, inspection fees and stuff like that? Make sure you're asking those questions. Okay. Can I choose how to use the incentives? Then you want to make sure you ask, will this lower my monthly payment? If I'm using this incentive towards the closing costs, will that actually lower my monthly payment? Or is it just, an upfront, will it reduce my upfront fees? You want to ask that so that you make sure that you are conscious about how the money is going to be, spread out when it comes down to your contract. Okay. One of the other things that a lot of builders say is, yes, they want you to, in order to get the incentives, they want you to use their lender. But you still want to ask, okay, if I use my own lender, what changes? Look, everything in real estate is negotiable. Things are negotiable in real estate, okay? Just because they say, well, we want you to use our lender, sometimes if you ask the right people, you might be able to use your outside lender and still get some of the incentives. But if you never ask that question and you just assume that you have to use their lenders, then you won't never know, right? Sometimes it's okay, it's better to use an outside lender because you've already built that relationship with that outside lender. Okay, it's okay to ask that question. If I use my own lender, can I still get the incentives? All right. So those are some of the questions that I want to make sure that you think about when you're going into these new construction homes. Okay. So let's play a quick game. All right, I want to talk about some of the myths and some of the truths when it comes down to these incentives and getting the best deal for you and your family. So one of the questions that I had was the myth was the builder with the biggest incentives always has the best deal, and that is not always true. Okay, the best deal is the one that fits you, it fits your family, it fits your budget, it fits your goals, it fits your future. That's going to be the best deal. Okay, so make sure that you're understanding when you're going in talking to these builders and stuff. Keep your focus on your goals, on your future, what's going to be best for you and your family. All righty, your budget, that's huge. All right. Another one, free upgrades are always the smartest choice. Sometimes lowering your monthly payment can save you more money over the time than adding upgrades. Like upgrading the cabinets, do you really need to? Okay, because that is that one of the things that's really important to you and your family. It may be, Cabinets is a big thing in the house and stuff, right? And especially if you're buying it for 30 years, you want the cabinets that look all pretty and you know, the glass cabinets with the lights at the top and all of that there. But is that one of the things that's going to be necessary for you? Is that upgrade really going to be necessary, or can you use that upgrade somewhere else? Okay, can you upgrade the bathroom? You know, can you do other things with that upgrade? You want to make sure you ask that. Okay. Every buyer should choose the same incentive. Of course not. That is not the truth. The truth is, choose the incentives that's going to be best for you and your family. All right. So I just wanted to come on real quick to do this here episode 5. You know, of things that, you know, we don't talk about when we're buying new construction. Like I said, I'm on here just to educate people, just to make sure that you're understanding, just to give you a little bit of insight on what you need to look for, how you need to ask the questions, you know, what's going to be good for you and your family, just to give you a little education on it. So one of the smart tips, buyer's tips that I wanted to give for this week is never choose a builder based off of their advertisements. Okay, a lot of times you'll see a lot of builders with their advertisements. Like I said, they have, you know, whatever is going on for the summer loans, you know, summer purchases and stuff like that. You don't want to just choose that builder off of just this one sign. Do your research. Do your research. Compare the homes. Okay, compare the monthly notes, monthly payments. If the monthly payments is not in your budget, that's not going to be good for you. All right. Compare the location. Location is key, y'all. Location is one of the major things, especially in purchasing a home, but also in reselling a home. So you want to make sure that the home that you're purchasing is going to be in a good location. Make sure you do that research on that location. Okay. Compare the incentives. Go out and see different builders. Go to different builders, and it's a lot of builders out here in Fort Bend County. A lot of different builders in each community, right? And so you want to go out there and you want to shop around with these builders and stuff, and see which one is going to be better for you and your family. Okay. And definitely do your research on the community. All right. Wherever you decide with location, that goes back to location. The community, what is the community offering you and your family? What kind of amenities is the community offering? A lot of communities now, especially out here in Fort Bend County, are building elementary schools in the community so the kids don't have to do bus transportation and all of that there. Is that important to you? Right? Does the school be in walking distance? Is that important for you and your family, right? So those are the type of things that you want to make sure that when you're going out and you're looking at these new construction homes and new communities and stuff like that, make sure that, you know, it's going to be the best decision for you and your family. All right. So I hope tonight gave you a different way of looking at buyers' incentives. Like I said, it's not just always about the money or how much they're going to give you and stuff like that. There's some other things that go into it. All right. And I hope that you got that information tonight. Builders' incentives can be wonderful. I love them when they fit my clients. Okay. The key is understanding how they're going to work and choosing the one that truly is best for you and your family. So if tonight's episode helped you, please like this video, share this video with someone you know is getting ready to start the process of home buying. And if you're wondering which builder incentive is going to make the most sense for you and your family, call me. I'm available. I'm here for you. My number is 346-702-6748, and we can sit down. We can just have a conversation about it. Go over some of these different builders out here in this area, because there are a lot. But to make sure that you're going to be, you know, happy with the decision that you make for you and your family. So I hope you got everything that you needed for builders incentives. I am excited about these episodes that I'm doing because I love to talk about new construction. And so next week, we're talking about one of the most important days of the entire home buying process, that final walkthrough, what every buyer should be checking before closing. Before you sign that paperwork, that final walkthrough. Okay, let's talk about that next week. So thank y'all so much for watching. Like I said, please share this, like this, and if you have any questions or any comments, leave them down in the comments and I'll respond back to them. But thank y'all so much for just taking the time to be with me tonight, and until next week, I'll see y'all later.